Hello everybody, welcome back to Gather, Design, Create, and Celebrate a Beautiful Life Together. My name is Anastasia, and today we will be diving into our deep conversations with elders and getting their pearl of wisdom. I'm very excited for our first guest today. It's going to be Alexandre. He immigrated to Canada in 1993 with his whole family and has a background in forestry. So it's going to be very exciting to hear a little bit more about him and any pearls of wisdom that he might have for us. I'd like to introduce Alex Bykov. Like I mentioned earlier, he came to Canada in 1993 from Russia with his background in forestry. So Alex, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I was born in 1957 in Siberia, deep Russia,
Wow.
deep in Siberia. Actually, in winter time, right about Christmas.
That's right.
Stormy, snowstorm weather, cold. So this is my motherland, and this is my second home, Canada. Very similar by weather conditions. So I grew up in suburb of Moscow, and starting at age 16, I got the summer job with forestry exploration expedition.
Have you always liked forestry, the trees? Is that something you've always wanted to do?
No. It just came across suddenly in my life. I was quite a teenager, giving some problem, to my mom and grandparents and so on. So my mother, my uncle actually was working for forestry, and he offered to help family and my mom by getting a job with one of the expeditions in far Siberia in Sand Mountains, and it was interesting challenge. I like the job, I like the people, I like nature always, and it all came about in 1974. My first exploration trip to the Baikal region. Beautiful area, nice people, interesting job, and I was sold.
Is there any one memory that stands out for you from that expedition?
Of course. It was expedition as we can imagine it. No, so we've been flown by helicopters high in the mountains with no other settlements or villages nearest couple hundred kilometers.
Wow.
So sometimes helicopter cannot come to pick us up, so we have to make our way out. We were at one point, and I remember vividly that we used inflatable rafts to go down the river, and it was mountain river, so it was like whitewater rafting with no experience,
Wow.
no nothing.
And how old were you then?
16.
Wow.
At age 16.
Were you afraid or full of adrenaline?
It was adrenaline rush mostly, and when we started, it was a beautiful weather, sunny and nice, so we actually had a blast and fun when the big waves going over your head and kicking you around and everything. But next day, the weather changed, started raining, cold, and it became quite miserable at the worst. So we had a best scenario possible for whitewater rafting and worst possible scenario, and then we flipped over a couple times. We lost all our gear, luggage, food,
Wow.
and so on. So it's quite a memory. It's something you will not forget if you went through this.
And did you go on more than one expedition like that?
Yes, it became my summer job first, and then after graduating from high school, I went to Forestry University in Moscow. So it became my my job and study and area of study, and I still have friends till now from there. So I know people, and we travel quite a bit from basically from end to end of former Soviet Union, from let's say Finnish border to Chinese border to
Wow.
to Japanese Sea and Ural Mountains and Baikal and Sayan Mountains and Altai Mountains and so on.
So, fast forward a little bit later when you started to have a family, what made you leave Russia? What made you?
Well, it was certain political and economical changes, which many people don't know or don't remember. It was actually this destruction of Soviet Union, where I grew up, where I got my education. I had a good job. I was in R&D in forestry. At the end, fast forward, so from just technician for expeditions, I became a postgraduate student. Then I became like junior scientist, senior scientist,
Wow,
and then group leader for my own research. So I was happy with my job. I got my PhD. I had a good salary.
That's
I have
incredible.
a good family. I have a cottage. I have a nice apartment we used to live. So everything was pretty much good and one of the best jobs you can dream of, because I would create my own topics, plan my own expedition routes and so on. But after destruction of Soviet Union in 1991, it all collapsed. So it was economical problem, crime was on the rise, and I have a family. I have three kids, two little girls, and so the criminal situation was so bad that I have to meet my wife each time she'll go somewhere. And at one point I realized that I have three girls in my household and I'm only one, so I cannot be in a different place to meet each one and to provide safety and security for them. So this was one point, and that major point was when my priest from my church who baptized me, who I respect dearly, was killed brutally by axe on his way to church. This was a turning point. This
terrible.
This was terrible. This was inexplicable, unexplainable, rude, and everything else which follows in 90s. We have to work, do jobs to support family, so we don't have many my friends left their good jobs, like their research or studies, and then they became like salespeople. We went in construction. We all, in spite of like we were postgraduate students, we were building fences. We were as a second job on weekends and so on, just to get more money for the family. So it was not nice situation overall. And since I was exposed to international forestry, I was a member actually International Forestry Research Organization Union, and I correspond with Canada, Australia, Sweden, and other research institutes. So somebody told me, why don't you try to find job somewhere else? And I started doing this. I sent my resume actually in Canada too, Canada, Australia, and I got some response from Great Lake Forestry Center in Sault Ste. Marie. But in this letter, they said, your experience and so on, but you need to be Canadian citizen in order to get the job with Federal Forestry Service. So this is how thinking of application start. And at this point, we were lucky enough that Canada start accepting immigrants. Like I'm talking about straightforward way of immigration. You write an application, provide your qualifications and credentials, and go through a medical, criminal check, and so on. So I did it all. Took almost 2 years, and finally we were invited with my wife to a Canadian embassy in Moscow. Had a conversation with the consul, and and they give us a paper for landed immigration for all of us.
That's a big decision to uproot the family. Was everybody on board? Was it hard to convince?
No, it was not hard to convince. The situation was so bad, and my wife very smart and understandable person, and back then she was on the same page with me, pretty much always.
And then you find yourself in Canada. So looking back at your incredible life so far, back in Russia and up to this day, do you think that, what do you think is your biggest accomplishment? Was it coming over here, or was there more that you've accomplished later on in life that you would say is your biggest accomplishment?
No, I would say, I was thinking about this time to time, and if you choose only one, probably to coming to Canada and bringing my family to Canada, this is probably the greatest accomplishment from whole life standpoint of view. Because I probably have like two parts of my life. First half till age 36, I believe, was in Russia, and I did whatever I can there, and then in Canada I have to build everything from the beginning, from the scratch, because we came just with backpacks and hand luggage, whatever kids can carry and we can carry with us.
And here without support on your own.
Yes, no friends, no job offer, no nothing like that. So then you have to start pretty much from the very beginning, from being, working in gas station as attendant, pizza delivery driver, landscape work, and so on. But slowly but surely, I made my way back to forestry, first through the private companies, then through the City of Toronto Parks and Recreation Department and Forestry Department, which again has great people. I enjoy it. I worked more than 25 years with them, and I know people know me in this industry. And then I again have to run my private business on the side to support family, because we didn't inherit anything here. No parents, nobody, and so one job, even well-paid job, the City of Toronto was not enough to support them.
Yeah, looks like that seems to be the story today too.
For many people, yes. But looking back, in Russian hard time was the same. Like my senior research officer position was not good enough to, in terms of pay, to support families, so I had to work on weekends, and we did. And I did the same here. Since I know how to run chainsaws and how to cut trees down, I was doing this in Russia, I was doing this in Canada. Even being inspector for the City of Toronto, I still, because I went through all the steps, like climbing arborist.
So would you say you're looking back now in your life, did you set goals and try your best to achieve them, or did you take life how it came and approach each opportunity naturally, just going with the flow? Or did you have goals you set out when you were younger that you wanted to achieve, a vision for your life?
Not really. Second is more appropriate for my life anyway, because there's a good Russian saying that people can plan or set up goals, but God, who is actually running the show. So I kind of believe in this, and I would say that yes, I took opportunity and choices which life gave to me, always, and sometimes it's were unusual choices, sometimes were maybe not the good ones, but in large, if you're looking backwards for over 50 years of my work experience, even choice to go to this expedition at age 16 was a choice. Nobody forced me. Like they suggest, I was interested, and I said, well, this is cool, this is interesting, so I'll take it. And same with this rafting option. We had an option to walk around through the mountain just by foot, but since we have inflatable raft, I took this opportunity to use it. It's just a little example, but overall, it's something similar.
Yeah, it sounds like it echoes throughout your life, like you took,
always, yes.
you experienced the full life, how it was coming at you.
Yeah, it sounds really, and since we mentioned a few times about this rafting experience, and it's a good analogy, I believe. Life is kind of a river, and you, a person, a human, is either a little leaf or canoe or little boat going down this river of life. And of course, you have rough water, you have shallow places, you have a lot of weeds sometimes, but it's your decision which way you go. Are you backpedaling, or you're taking left or right turn, or you're heading straight on. So life always gives you choices, and to make your choice, and if your choice is right, this is part of joy and fun in life.
Yeah.
When you see that the choice you made, that the island you avoid, it was a good decision.
Yeah. So speaking about that, that's a great analogy. If you had to sit down right now and write a letter to your 20-year-old self with words of encouragement more than, I guess, words of lessons, looking back at your incredible life and saying something to that 20-year-old self as a way to get them through life, what would you say, knowing everything that you know now, experiencing everything that you've experienced now, and knowing that the trajectory, it's not going to change to that 20-year-old self? What would you say as words of encouragement, a pearl of wisdom?
I probably say to enjoy more and value more what you have at the moment, because you don't know what life has in store for you, and what seems to be not enough at the moment when you're young, it actually can be plentiful from emotional, physical, and psychological point of view. And enjoying what you have, to appreciate what life, nature, people, family, friends give to you, appreciate it more. Like we all do appreciate it, but now I can say for my 20 years old back that we didn't appreciate it enough.
Yeah.
And this understanding coming when you can compare different systems, different countries, different setups and situations. So appreciate and enjoy what you have, and life will give you more.
Yeah, that's really nice. That resonates with me too, because I think anyone in their 20s is not looking like that at life. They're
No. This is what I think. They want something. Sometimes they put unrealistic goals or unrealistic dreams, and when they not achieve this, people feel depressed, unhappy, and so on. So this was main message for me: enjoy what you have, be grateful for what you get, and life and God will give you more if you appreciate it. If you don't, you probably will not get.
That's great. Well, that's incredible what you've said so far, and I can't wait to see how life treats you in the future and what chances you take, what opportunities you take going forward. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.